So what's interesting in following a path that aspires for genuine happiness is we have to give up the attachment to happiness. Okay? Specifically, worldly happiness, because that attachment is what makes us spin around in circles full of misconceptions. Yeah? So it's not like we take our attachment for worldly happiness and just transfer it over to Buddha's happiness, thinking of them both as something outside of ourselves that's inherently existent, that we just have to get those things that make the Buddha happy. But rather pointing to the absence of craving is, of the craving that makes samsara go round, that is the kind of happiness that a liberated being experiences. Okay, so we have to give up that craving for worldly happiness, and then, develop the wisdom that will purify our mind, develop the compassion and bodhicitta that will expand our mind. Yeah, and in that way we create the causes for actual happiness. But it can't be like we're focused on, I want the happiness of Buddha, I want the happiness of Buddha, I've got to get the happiness of Buddha ASAP. Because that mind is clearly a self-centered mind, a grasping mind. It doesn't understand even what it's grasping, okay? And is being quite self-centered about the whole thing. So, again, I think it's really important. Just practice the path and the results will come of their own accord without us having a lot of attachment to them. And, instead of wanting to climb up the corporate ladder, now we want to climb up the bodhisattva ladder, And what bhumi are you on? Well, I'm on a higher one, I got promoted. No, okay, that's not part of it. Okay, so so with Ratthapala, okay, last time we covered, when he visited his parents' house and they offered him a meal and they brought out all the wealth, and his father reminded him of his wonderful education and everything he could do and how intelligent he was and what a marvelous contribution he could make to society, and that what in the world was he doing giving all of this up? How was he going to be happy? And and then of course mom and dad, they want happiness for their kids. All parents want their kids to be happy. But our parents, the kind of happiness they know is worldly happiness. So that's, of course, what they want us to have. So, Ratthapala is saying, well, actually, that doesn't interest me much. So then they bring out his wives, they bring out everything, and he's just not interested. And so they think something's wrong with him, better take him to the therapist. Because this kid just doesn't have the right goals in life, He doesn't have any ambition. He just wants to sit there and look at his belly button and be peaceful, What kind of peace is that? Okay, so mom and dad are quite worried about him. But he doesn't bite the hook, okay? And he says, okay, please serve the meal, because I have to eat by a certain time. When the meal's served, he eats. And then he says, thank you very much, and goodbye. And he goes to the park in the kingdom to meditate. And then the king, who was going to go out and visit the pleasure park and have a picnic and, really enjoy himself, hears that Ratthapala is there and cancels his plans and instead, arrives with his whole entourage, plus his elephant skin seat that he offers to Ratthapala, to talk to him. And, ask him kind of what's going on. If you were really old and decrepit, yes, I could see you ordaining. If you were aging and, or if you were approaching death, I can see you ordaining. If you were sick, I can see you ordaining, If you didn't have worldly success, your wife left you, your wealth collapsed, you didn't have, you couldn't pay off the mortgage on your home. Yeah, I could see you joining the Sangha in those situations. But you're young, you're the kid of the wealthiest person in town, you're healthy, you're not near death. Why in the world are you doing this? The king is asking. Yeah. So, so then Ratthapala answers him. Yeah. And he talks about, what's it like when you die and when you get old and when you get sick and when you have experienced loss in your life. And, do having any of those things really make you totally secure? Yeah. So before you lose them, yeah, does having good health and material prosperity and youth and attractiveness and all of that, does that really make you completely happy? And he gets the king to look at his own experience, and the king realizes, no, it doesn't. Okay, so okay, so then Ratthapala. Okay, we did that. Okay, so then the Ratthapala talks about 4 summaries of the Dharma. Okay, and so the first one was that life in any world is unstable, so whatever we have is transient. It come, go, and that goes for not only your wealth, your relationships, but also your health, your youth, everything like that. The second was, protection, that we're always looking for protection, either externally from troops and military, or internally from, a relationship or something like that. That's not gonna, and that doesn't bring real protection, again, real safety. Okay, and then he talks about wealth and how wealth comes and goes, and it's here and there, and you can't rely on it. And then the fourth one was that life in any world is incomplete, insatiate, the slave of craving. And that means no matter what you do have, you always want more, you always want better. The mind is never satisfied. Yeah. And I think we can see that very clearly if we look in our lives, No matter what we have, we could use a little bit more, and we could use better, We have love, but we could use more love. People appreciate us. We could use more appreciation. We have chocolate. Well, maybe we don't, but we could use more of it. Yeah, we have a 401k or an IRA account, but there's not enough in it. Yeah, we have lots of people and lots of friends who like us, but we could use more. Yeah? We have lots of people praising us and telling us we're wonderful and intelligent and full of potential, but more would be better, So whatever we have, it's always more and better, more and better, more and better, okay? Whether it's objects or relationships or, who knows what it is, okay? Yeah, so just to realize that that is the nature of samsara, which doesn't mean it's the nature of the external world. When we're talking about samsara, we're talking about our 5 aggregates, that are under the influence of ignorance. So as long as there's ignorance in our mind, we get these kind of things going on, yeah? We're always craving for something, never satisfied, okay? Michael Phelps just got his 22nd gold medal, and he broke a record for, I don't know, something of the most medals in a certain field, that the last time it was set was 100 and something BC in those Olympics. So he just broke that record that's 2,000 years old for, But do you think he's going to be satisfied with that and happy with that? No, he can always use another gold medal. When is there an end to it? Yeah, well, his body's going to wear out soon. And then all he's going to have is memories. Yeah, and he can sit when he's old and sit in front of my dad had one of these. The kids got it for him, not me, but my siblings. Where you put in all the family pictures and it changes pictures every few seconds. So Michael Phelps is going to have, oh, there's that Olympic and I won that. Oh, there's that Olympic and I won. Oh, there's that and that. And look at his past, Meanwhile, he's going to be, like if he lives that old, still have the same big feet, but be 80 years old. Yeah, and be sitting there and all flabby and everything. Yeah, and sitting there kind of like this, a little bit senile. Oh yeah, I remember that gold medal. Yeah, is that going to be happiness? Yeah, and all of us, in our lives, we want to do something, we want to accomplish something, we want to be somebody, so at the end of our lives we can sit there and, they used to have scrapbooks, now, they take up too much space. You just have these, things with pictures of yourself that you look at and all the sweet memories. Oh, I remember going on that family vacation. I remember getting this award. I remember this, I remember that. Yeah? And that's all we have at the end of the day. Samsara is not fun. Yeah, it's not fun. We think it is, but that's, again, our ignorance. Okay, so we have some verses now to complete, to go through, and that will be the end of Ratthapala's teaching to us. Okay? So when he explained all of that to the king, then he goes on and he says, and it's amazing, some of this is really similar to what Nagarjuna said to his king. Yeah, but of course it pertains to us, because we're all kings and queens of our own little empire, even if it's only as big as our puja table or our room. I see people wealthy in the world who yet from ignorance give not their gathered wealth. Greedily they hoard away their riches, longing still for further sensual pleasures. Same thing Nagarjuna said to his king, you're wealthy, but you hoard it, so you can't enjoy it now. You're not creating any good karma with it, and your mind is still involved in longing for more and more sensual pleasures, waiting for the right moment to spend that money on what's going to give you the most pleasure. Okay? So really using up the good karma they created in previous lives and not creating any more. Okay, then the next verse. A king who has conquered the earth by force and rules over the land the ocean bounds is yet unsated with the sea's near shore and hungers for its further shore as well. So no matter how much power you have, here it's the king with his kingdom, wanting more. You rule this land, but you want to get, there's more land on the other side of the lake. You want to get that too, because the land you rule over isn't enough. But again, we have our own little empires. So, if whatever job you have, wouldn't it be nice to have more status in that job? Wouldn't it be nice to call the shots instead of somebody else telling you what to do? Wouldn't it be nice to set the standards yourself instead of having somebody else set them and tell you what you have to adhere to? Okay, so the mind, no matter what we have, we want more power, we want more say-so. And again, do we want this for the benefit of sentient beings? Well, part of our mind may, but it's not so bad that we get a little kickback of status and renown and fame and, a higher wage from it all. We'll accept those things. Okay, so this dissatisfaction. Most other people too, not just a king, encounter death with craving unabated. With plans still incomplete, they leave the corpse. Desire remains unsated in the world. Okay? So everybody dies without all of their desires fulfilled. Yeah, we have all these desires. We have a bucket list. Yeah. Now you may not say, we usually think bucket list is when you have a terminal illness. Yeah. We may not have a terminal illness, but aren't there certain things you want to do before you die? Yeah. Don't you have a bucket list of things you want to experience or people meet or places go or objects you have, something we want to do before we kick the bucket. Yeah. And yet, death comes without having fulfilled our bucket list. We can't control when we're going to die. And since we're always wanting more, always wanting better, even we fulfill certain things on our bucket list, we substitute it with something new. Yeah. And sometimes what's very interesting, our bucket list is actually longing for things in the past. Something that we had before that we no longer have. May that come back. May that person magically come to life again. Somebody we cared about who died. May they magically come to life and may I see them again. Yeah. Or some happy things from the past we want to relive. Or maybe we didn't have a happy past and we're still craving for the things we didn't have. You're 80 years old and you're still wishing your father took you to a baseball game. Yeah? Or that your parents read more books to you, or that they, taught you to knit, or they taught you to play badminton, or, whatever it is, your unfulfilled childhood longings, you're still wishing those things would happen. Yeah. My dad tried to teach me to play tennis. I don't long for that. I was not very good at it. So of course, things we aren't very good at, we don't like, isn't it? Okay, so we still leave the body, we leave the corpse, and desire is unabated, and we just enter our new life, again, craving more and more desire, more and more this and that. His relatives lament and rend their hair, crying, "Ah me, alas, our love is dead." They bear away the body wrapped in shrouds to place it on a pyre and burn it there. Okay? So we die, all of our loved ones are there, all of our friends are there, or even they're not there. They find out later. There's an email that goes around. It gets put on our Facebook page. You know, we regret to inform you that so-and-so died at this and that and this and that. You know, the memorial service is held on Sunday at 10 o'clock. Instead of bringing flowers, make a donation to a charity, you know, and then everybody comes, everybody talks about you. Finally, you know, finally, they spend, you know, a time together talking about you and telling all their wonderful stories. Oh, I remember when he or she was such a little kid, so cute, these adorable little cheeks. And they did all these so funny things, like stick the metal curler in the electric socket, but they didn't get hurt, you know. And I remember when they took their first steps, and you know, and everybody's telling stories about you. Oh, I remember when she went to the prom at 16. Remember those old bouffant hairdos that you had then? Remember those? Yeah? And the guy came with a corsage, and you could judge how much he liked you by what flower was on the corsage. Yeah? And you pinned the corsage here, because you didn't have a robe then. So you pinned it here, or maybe he got you a wrist corsage. Oh, that was so nice. And you had your jewelry, and you know, you looked like a debutante. Yeah? And your dad even looked at you for once and said something else beside, "Get your hair out of your face." Sorry, some childhood memories. Okay. And then they're crying, you know. Our loved one is dead. And then they take your body away. Here it's buried in shrouds. We've upgraded now. You know, now the family shows how much they love you according to what kind of casket they get. Yeah? So, you know, nobody would get you a new bed while you were alive, and your bed was lumpy and it was too soft and it hurt your back. But when you die, they get you a really nice casket. Of course, you're dead, you can't enjoy it. But they enjoy thinking that they got you this beautiful casket. The ones with metal cost more, the ones lined in velvet, they cost more. They get this beautiful mahogany. Let's chop down some more trees and, you know, make a beautiful casket out of it, and they put your box in it, put your body in it. Yeah. In the Jewish religion, you aren't allowed to have any decorations in the casket. It's got to be a plain, simple box, which I think is good. Of course, funeral directors don't like that, you know, because they want you to pay a lot of money to alleviate your guilt about how rotten you treated the person when they were alive by buying an extra special nice casket. So they buy you a nice casket. All the people who told you off while you were alive, the family members, the siblings you had to compete with, the ones who spoke ill of you, are now standing, you know, over your casket in the memorial hall, sobbing uncontrollably, you know, going out to the gravesite, crying, sobbing, you know, and then helping to put the dirt on, you know, over you, and then going out for lunch afterwards. Yeah, I mean, you gotta eat. And you're hungry after all that emotion, yeah. So they have a big spread for the family, yeah, and everybody comes and you have this big thing, okay. Clad in a shroud, he leaves his wealth behind. Prodded with stakes, he burns upon the pyre. And as he dies, no relatives or friends can offer him shelter and refuge here. Okay? So they either bury you in the ground, they take you to the crematorium, yeah. You come out, this fine powdered ash. I mean, in India, when they burn the bodies, the whole body doesn't burn. There's always some bones and things left over. But in modern crematoriums here, they do a good job. Nothing. Just this very powder stuff, you know, that your friends and family are going to take up to Sukhavati and throw there, you know, while they listen to us chant. And, you know, they continue to cry. And, but none of them can offer you shelter or refuge. No matter how much somebody loves you, they can't save you from dying. And they can't make you have a good rebirth. No way, you know. They cry, but they can't help you. Okay. While his heirs take over his wealth, this being must pass on according to his actions. And as he dies, nothing can follow him, not child, nor spouse, nor wealth, nor royal estate. Okay, so we die, then everybody goes through our things. Yeah? They go pick through our things, and somebody says, I want this, and I want that. No, I want that. Yeah, I like those blue goblets. I want those blue goblets. You know, the other one says, no, I like them. I think Mom and, you know, I think they wanted me to get them. Or, you know, I like, oh, they had such a nice Buddha statue. Yeah, forget that it belongs to the Abbey. Actually, I want it. You know, treating it as their private possession instead of as Abbey property. I want that. Yeah, I want all their notes. I want their Dharma books. I want a little souvenir. Yeah. What are you going to have of a little souvenir of you as a monastic? What is your family going to get?
Hair shavings.
Huh?
The last hair shavings.
The last hair. Yeah, maybe, yeah, the hair from your last shaving. Maybe they want your razor. Yeah, of course, mala. Yeah, how about prayer book? Yeah, I want their prayer book. Anyway, everybody starts arguing about it. And whatever money you have, then they all argue about that too. Yeah, Mom and Dad gave it to me. No, they gave it to me. No. Yeah, so, you know, how come they put you through school? They didn't put me through school, yet you're getting the same amount of inheritance that I got. I should get more because they didn't put me through school. Yeah, they owe me something. Or they bought you a car, but they didn't buy me a car, or whatever it is, you know. I want more. I should get more. Okay, so if the heirs take over the wealth, okay, and this being must pass on according to his actions. So meanwhile, we're dying, and according to our karma that's ripening, we're taking another birth. Yeah? Maybe human being, maybe hell being, maybe pretas. Maybe we're in that batch of kittens. Yeah, and maybe we're the spider on the wall of the Abbey. Yeah, we go on according to our actions, and nothing follows us. Yeah, if you have kids, your kids don't follow you. Yeah, if you have a spouse, they don't come with you. Your wealth doesn't stay here. Yeah. In Asia, often people will burn paper money. Yeah. In Singapore, from the Bank of Hell. Yeah. They burn the money. They burn paper computers. They burn paper cars to send them to their relatives in the next life. The Buddhists don't. Well, some Buddhists do, but it's mostly a practice of ancestor worship. Okay, and so trying to send those things on to the next life, none of them reach you. Yeah, they just pollute the atmosphere. None of them get to you. Longevity is not acquired with wealth, nor can prosperity banish old age. Short is this life, as all the sages say. Eternity it knows not, only change. Kennedy family is a good example of this. Longevity is not acquired with wealth or with power. You know, those people had wealth, they had power. Little John had good looks. None of that makes you live longer. Okay? Prosperity can't banish old age, you know? All of that can't keep you from getting older. Doesn't matter you're rich or poor or in a wealthy country or poor country. Yeah, short is this life, as all sages say. Eternity it knows not, only change. So day by day we are getting older. Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange as you age. Yeah, very strange. I've noticed that the last few years. Yeah, because inside I still feel like I'm in my 20s with my whole life in front of me, but it's beginning to dawn on me that that's not actually how it is. Yeah, that the majority of my life is over, even if I were to live a long life. The majority of my life is over. And that I don't know how long I'm going to live because, you know, all sorts of people write to us and ask us to pray for their relatives and friends who are dying, and we're praying for people who are younger than me. How does that happen? Okay. And then seeing people your age, you know, either die or get sick. And then you know that that kind of illness is coming to you. It's just a matter of time. Yeah, when you're young, you feel like you have your whole life. It's not going to happen. It happens, you know, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Then you get to that age and you still feel young, but it begins to dawn on you that now is the time when, you know, more people get, you're the age when more people get cancer, kidney disease, heart attacks, and so on and so forth. And you're kind of saying, well, when's the shoe going to drop? Yeah, when's it going to happen? Because you know it's just a matter of time. Yeah, and that we're changing moment by moment. The rich and poor alike shall feel death's touch. The fool and sage as well shall feel it too. So it doesn't matter if you're poor or if you're a professor, death comes. But while the fool lies stricken by his folly, no sage will ever tremble at the touch. Okay, so while fools, you know, look back on their life and have so much regret about what they did, people who are sages made good choices when they lived their life. They abandoned creating negativity. They purified whatever negativity they did create. They created a lot of virtue. They put the teachings into practice in their mind. And so when death comes, it's like, okay, I knew this was coming. It's time to go. I can look back on my life and say that it was a meaningful life, that, you know, it was a life well lived, and I can die peacefully. Yeah, but people who are always looking for worldly benefit have a lot of regret at the time of death. Better is wisdom here than any wealth, since by wisdom one gains the final goal. For people through ignorance do evil deeds, while failing to reach the goal from life to life. So wisdom is better than any kind of material wealth or prosperity or status, because it's through wisdom that we will become liberated and awakened. Whereas people who just increase their ignorance also increase their negative actions. And even though they desire for happiness and are reborn again and again and again, looking for more and more happiness in samsara, they never attain that goal, even from one life to the next. Yeah, so the wisdom that gets us out of cyclic existence is definitely superior. As one goes to the womb in the next world, renewing the successive round of births, another of little wisdom, trusting him, goes also to the womb and the next world. Okay. So as one goes to the womb in the next world, renewing the successive round of rebirth, so we haven't realized emptiness yet, we're getting reborn again and again. Okay. Another of little wisdom. Okay, so another person of little wisdom, trusting him. It doesn't. Who is the him? Goes also to the womb in the next world. Maybe it means somebody who has a little bit of wisdom also gets reborn, but in a better life. I'm actually not. Does anybody have ideas about this?
Well, those of you discernment trusting in one.
But say it again, why those?
Of weak discernment trusting in one also go to a womb and to the next world.
Yeah, so it also indicates somebody who gets reborn but doesn't have a lot of wisdom, but is maybe trusting in an external god or something like that to do it for them. Just as a robber caught in burglary is made to suffer for his evil deeds, so people after death in the next world are made to suffer for their evil deeds. Okay, so we have to remember this is just an analogy, and all factors of analogy are not exactly alike. So a robber caught in burglary, has to experience the results of his deeds. The police, the law enforcement make him suffer. We experience suffering because of our negative karma in the next life, but nobody else is making us suffer. Okay? We created the causes by ourselves. Sensual pleasures, varied, sweet, delightful, in so many different ways, disturb the mind. Seeing the danger in these sensual ties, I chose to lead the homeless life, O king. Yeah, so he's just reviewing everything here for the king about why he chose to become a monastic, and saying all those things are pleasurable, sweet, delightful. There's so many things to enjoy in the world, but they're dangerous. Yeah. In other words, the attachment to them is dangerous. Making the meaning of my life seeking those things is dangerous, because it just increases my ignorance, my negativities. And so he's saying, O king, I chose to lead the homeless life. I'm leaving all those things behind because they just incite my attachment and my afflictions. As fruit fall from the tree, so people too, both young and old, fall when this body breaks. Seeing this too, O king, I have gone forth. Better is the recluse's life assured. Okay, so fruits, when they're get really ripe and old, they fall from the tree, and people, when they get old, they die. Okay, we die both young and old when our body ceases to function properly. And we don't know when that's going to be. Some people never make it out of the womb. Some people die before their first or second birthday. Okay? So he's saying, seeing the preciousness of this life, having all the conditions to practice the Dharma, then I chose to lead the homeless life, to go forth from home to homelessness, to make my life meaningful, to have something to show for myself and for others at the end of my life. Yeah, instead of just having a lot of people crying at my funeral and fighting over my bank account, can I have something that's really going to be meaningful for my life when I die? And what is meaningful in our life is not necessarily seen by other people. Okay? That's the whole thing. Other people don't see the karma we create. So if we, sometimes in the back of our mind, it's like, okay, I can do without the sense pleasure, but I'm going to create a lot of good karma. I'm going to be somebody in the Dharma world. Yeah, so that when I die, they're going to write about it in the magazines, because, or at least the Buddhist magazines, because I've become somebody. Yeah, so the mind is still seeking worldly renown, still seeking reputation from that. Yeah, it's a very worldly mind. So, what we actually take with us is totally invisible to the eyes and minds of other people. Yeah? So you may be very famous, but due to karma, be born in the hell realm. Even they write you up in the magazine. Yeah? Even they make a stupa with your ashes. Yeah? It doesn't matter. Yeah? Because the real purpose of our life, it's the good we do, but nobody sees that, and nobody's going to remember that. Even if they do, that good doesn't, the other people remembering what we did for them doesn't help us. Yeah, what we take with us is just our mental habits and our karma, and nobody else sees that. Yeah, so it doesn't matter whether we die rich or poor, whether they write a nice obituary about us or not. Yeah, because it means nothing in terms of actually what we take with us to our next life. Yeah. And so that's, one of the things about the law of karma is that it's infallible. Causes create results, and good causes create good results, and bad causes create bad results. But there's no way we can bargain with the law of karma. There's no way we can fool it, because causes and effect always win out, So what I'm getting at is, looking good does you absolutely no good when you die. Yeah? And even you're lying there on your deathbed, and your whole room is filled with cards saying, I love you, you've helped me so much in my life, you were such a wonderful Dharma practitioner, so inspiring. Is that going to help you when you're dying? Can you take any of that with you? Being ordained is not a career. It's not a career where we try and climb up the ladder and, make ourselves renowned and get some kind of, renowned or fame or something because of that. Yeah? So that's why you see many of the practitioners in old, they just did their practice in quiet. They weren't known as, we don't read about a lot of those practitioners. We think that, we read about so-and-so and so-and-so and what they did and how wonderful it was. And I'm sure they were excellent practitioners. I'm also sure there were a lot more who nobody knew about. Yeah, who practiced really purely. Nobody knew about that. They aren't written up in any books. Yeah, no monasteries named after them. No name in a lineage Lama prayer. Yeah, no stupa, nothing. Yeah, but they went on with a really pure mind and could benefit so many beings in their next lives and attain the final goal. Okay. So we have a little bit of time for Q&A or comments. Mm-hmm.
Are there any stories where someone listened to the Buddhist teachings and also decided to renounce the world but didn't become a monastic? Is that kind of like the only conclusion reasonably drawn?
No, it's not. I mean, you can see, I'm sure this king didn't turn around and renounce his kingdom. I can't say I'm sure, but probably he didn't. So I'm sure, there were people who heard the teachings and believed them, but didn't decide to ordain afterwards. Yeah, but how their death was, what they were able to take with them karmically and in terms of their practice, that I don't know. Yeah, but there were lots of lay practitioners. Yeah. In fact, now the majority of Buddhists is lay practitioners. The majority of Buddhists isn't Sangha.